The stars looked peaceful from the bridge of the U.S. Defiant. Captain Peter Dawson stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the endless black of space. For 8 years, he had led his crew on exploration missions to the far reaches of known space. Today was supposed to be like any other day. It wasn't. "Captain, I'm picking up a signal," said Officer Kelly Bennett, her fingers moving quickly across her communications panel. "It's not one of ours." Peter moved to her station. "What do you mean, not one of ours?" "Sir, it's not from Earth or any of our colonies. The pattern is unlike anything in our database." The bridge fell silent. First contact. The moment humanity had both dreamed of and feared for centuries. "Can you pinpoint the source?" Peter asked. Navigator Olivia Wells spoke up from her station. "Already did, sir. It's coming from just beyond Neptune's orbit, moving fast toward us." "Put us on yellow alert. I want all sensors at maximum range," Peter ordered. "Let's see who's coming to dinner." Within 20 minutes, they had visual contact. The ship was unlike anything human engineers had ever designed. It was roughly oval-shaped with what looked like crystalline structures protruding from its hull. It was also damaged, with visible scorch marks along one side. "They're broadcasting again, sir," Kelly said. I think it's a distress call." "How can you tell if we can't understand them?" asked Lieutenant Samantha Mitchell from the weapons station. Kelly shook her head. "The tone, the repetition pattern. Universal concepts. They need help." Peter made his decision quickly. "Move to intercept. Keep weapons on standby. But let's show them we're here to help." As the Defiant approached the alien vessel, they received a new transmission. This one contained images, a star map, then scenes of planets burning, massive fleets of angular, predatory-looking ships, and finally, beings fleeing. "They're refugees," Samantha said quietly. The alien ship docked with the Defiant in a surprisingly compatible airlock procedure. When the doors opened, Peter led the first contact team himself. The beings that emerged were tall and slender, with iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer with its own light. They had 4 arms and large, almond-shaped eyes that took up much of their face. One stepped forward and placed a small device on the floor between them. It projected a holographic image of stars, then showed ships, hundreds of them, moving through space. "I think they're trying to warn us about something," Engineer Alan Russell said. The alien nodded vigorously and pointed to a location on the star map. It was Earth's solar system. Within hours, the ship's linguist had established basic communication with the aliens, who called themselves the Niburians. Her story was grim. For over 300 years, a species known as the Varalians had been conquering galaxy after galaxy, system after system. They were ruthlessly efficient and technologically superior to any race they encountered. The Niburians were the last survivors of their world. They had fled as their planet was stripped of resources and their people enslaved. "How long do we have?" Peter asked. The lead Niburian, who had given his name as Zern, held up his 4 hands, folding down fingers until only 3 remained. 3 what? Years? Months. Months, the alien confirmed, using one of the few human words he had learned. As the Defiant raced back to Earth with their visitors, Samantha spent hours studying the data the Niburians had brought. Something about the Varalian battle tactics caught her attention. "They always win," she told Peter late one night in his ready room. "But they win the same way every time. It's like watching a computer run the same program over and over." "You think that gives us a chance?" Peter asked. Samantha looked at the tactical displays showing the overwhelming Varalian forces. "It's not much, but it might be all we've got." 3 months passed quickly. Earth's governments united under the threat, building defenses and preparing their fleets. But deep down, everyone knew it might not be enough. The alarm sounded across all ships when the Varalian scouts first appeared near Pluto, small, dart-like vessels that moved with impossible speed. "They're here," Peter said, watching the tactical display on the bridge of the Defiant. His ship had been refitted with Earth's best weapons, but the vessel's real strength remained its speed and the experience of its crew. Admiral Frank Porter's face appeared on the main screen. "Captain Dawson, new orders. You are to escort the civilian ships to Proxima Centauri immediately." Peter frowned. "Sir, the Defiant should be on the front line. We have experience with." "That's why you're escorting the civilians," the Admiral cut in. "If Earth falls, those ships carry the seeds of humanity's survival. I need someone who understands what we're facing." Peter wanted to argue but knew better. "Yes, sir. When do we depart?" "The moment the first shots are fired. We'll hold them at Jupiter's orbit as long as we can." In the engineering section, Alan Russell worked frantically on the pieces of Niburian technology they had been allowed to keep. For weeks, he had been studying the damage patterns on their ship. "The Varelian weapons leave very specific burn patterns," he explained to Samantha, who had come to check on his progress. "It's like they're tuned to a specific frequency." Samantha leaned closer. "Could we use that somehow?" Ellen shrugged. "Maybe. If their weapons are so precisely calibrated, their shields might be too. Everything in their technology seems to work on the same principles." Their conversation was interrupted by the ship-wide announcement. "All hands to battle stations. Civilian evacuation commencing." From the viewport in the shuttle bay, they watched as Earth's united fleet formed a defensive line near Jupiter. Nearly 300 ships, the combined might of humanity, looked impressive until the main Varelian fleet arrived. Their ships were black and angular, resembling predatory insects. The largest was the size of a small moon. There were thousands of them. The battle began. Earth's ships fired first, their most powerful weapons barely scratching the Varelian shields. The return fire was devastating. Ships exploded or were cut in half by strange energy beams that seemed to ignore shielding completely. "Captain, we have all civilian ships aboard," reported Officer Kelly Bennett. "Ready to jump when you give the word." Peter watched the battle unfolding with a grim expression. "Set course for Proxima Centauri, maximum speed." As the Defiant turned away from the battle, a squad of Varelian fighters broke off to pursue them. "They've spotted us," Olivia called from the navigation station. 5 ships, closing fast." "Evasive maneuvers," Peter ordered. "Lieutenant Mitchell, target the lid ship." Samantha fired the main weapons. The Varelian fighter easily dodged, moving with a speed that seemed impossible for its size. "They're too fast," she said, frustration evident in her voice. Ellen's voice came over the comm. "Captain, I have an idea. Their ships move in predictable patterns. If we can plot their next 3 moves, we might get a shot." Peter looked at Samantha. "Can you do it?" She studied the movement patterns, her mind working quickly. "Yes, transferring predictions to navigation now." Olivia smiled as the data appeared on her screen. "Got it. Moving to intercept." The Defiant suddenly changed course, heading directly toward the oncoming fighters. At the last second, they fired all weapons and veered sharply away. 2 Varelian ships collided trying to avoid the barrage, and a third took a direct hit. "It worked," Samantha exclaimed. But more Varelian ships were coming. Peter knew they couldn't win this fight. "Make the jump now," he ordered. The stars stretched into lines as the Defiant and its precious cargo of civilian ships escaped into the darkness, leaving the battle and Earth behind. As they traveled, Helen continued studying the Varelian technology. Late that night, he burst onto the bridge, eyes wide with excitement. "Captain," he said breathlessly, "I think I found something. A weakness in their shielding systems." After a week of travel, the Defiant and its convoy of refugee ships arrived at Proxima Centauri. Hidden on the 3rd planet of the system was New Hope, a secret colony established 5 years ago as humanity's insurance policy against extinction. "Welcome to New Hope, Captain," said Dr. Lisa Martinez as Peter stepped off the shuttle onto the colony's landing pad. She was a tall woman with short gray hair and eyes that looked like they had seen too much. "I wish it were under better circumstances." So do I, Peter replied, looking around at the underground base. Thousands of people moved about, some of them colonists, others newly arrived refugees from Earth. How many can you support here? With careful management of resources, about 30,000. We're already at 22 with your new arrivals. Peter's heart sank. Earth had billions of people. That's all. Lisa nodded grimly. But we have something that might help. Follow me. She led Peter and his senior officers through a series of tunnels to a massive chamber carved into the planet's bedrock. Inside was a research facility unlike anything they had seen before. We've been studying alien technology for years, Lisa explained. Anything we could find or salvage. When we got your message about the Feralians, we focused all our efforts on defense systems. Alan's eyes widened as he looked at the equipment. This is amazing. With this, I might be able to develop that shield weakness I found. Work with our chief scientist, Dr. Paul Baker, Lisa said. If there's a way to hurt these invaders, we need to find it fast. For the next 2 days, the crew of the Defiant helped integrate the refugees into the colony while Alan and Samantha worked with the scientists. On the 3rd day, Communications Officer Jack Garcia requested an urgent meeting. I've been monitoring Earth frequencies, he said, his face grim. The news isn't good. Most of our fleet was destroyed in the first battle. The Feralians have taken control of the solar system. Any resistance? Peter asked. Jack shook his head. Some scattered fighting, but Earth officially surrendered yesterday. The Feralians are already setting up bases and mining operations. The room fell silent as the reality sank in. Earth, the cradle of humanity, was now under alien control. There's more, Jack continued. I've detected Feralian communications patterns moving in this direction. I think they know about New Hope, or at least suspect there's a colony here. Olivia pulled up star charts on the main screen. If I analyze their fleet movements and scout patterns, they're definitely expanding toward Proxima Centauri. I estimate we have 3 weeks, maybe a month before they arrive. Lisa looked at Peter. What do we do? We can try to evacuate, but where would we go? And can we move everyone in time? Peter thought for a moment. We need more information. We need to know exactly what we're facing, and if they really are coming here. You're suggesting we go back? Samantha asked. Peter nodded. The Defiant is fast, and we know their patterns now. We can slip past their patrols, gather intelligence, and return. It's risky, Lisa said. Hiding here waiting to be found is riskier, Peter replied. And Alan needs more data on their shields to complete his work. The meeting ended with a decision. The Defiant would return to Earth's solar system on a reconnaissance mission. Meanwhile, Alan would continue working with the colonial scientists on a weapon that could penetrate Feralian shields. As the crew prepared the ship, Samantha approached Peter in his quarters. We're going to need more than just information, she said. If Alan's right about the shield weakness, we'll need a test subject. Peter looked at her, understanding what she was suggesting. You want to capture a Feralian ship, or at least part of one. Something we can study up close. Peter smiled slightly. I was just planning a simple scouting mission. Nothing's been simple since the Niburians showed up, Samantha replied. Why start now? The Defiant slipped through space like a ghost. Thanks to Alan's modifications, their energy signature was masked to appear as nothing more than background radiation. As they approached Earth's solar system, the crew fell silent at what they saw. Earth's once clear orbit was now crowded with Feralian ships. Massive mining vessels hovered over what had been major cities. Smaller ships patrolled in regular patterns. They're stripping the planet, Olivia whispered from her station. Just like the Niburians said they would. Peter studied the tactical display. Any sign they've detected us? None, Samantha replied. Their patrol routes haven't changed. Peter turned to Security Chief Daniel Clark, who had joined them for this mission. Daniel was a former Special Forces soldier with a square jaw and steady hands. Time to put your team together, Peter told him. We need to get aboard one of their command ships. Daniel nodded. I selected 5 officers. We've been training in the ship's gym. Good. Jack, have you identified a suitable target? Communications Officer Jack Garcia pointed to a mid-sized Varelian vessel slightly separated from the main fleet. That one. It's big enough to have valuable data, but small enough that it won't have too many crew members. Peter studied the ship. Olivia, can you get us close enough for a boarding party? Yes, sir. If we approach from the shadow of Earth's moon, I can use the debris field from our destroyed satellites as cover. The plan came together quickly. They would approach under stealth, attach to the Varelian ship's hull, cut their way in, and steal whatever intelligence they could find. If possible, they would also capture a Varelian officer for questioning. Hours later, the Defiant floated silently behind a large piece of destroyed space station. Just 500 meters away sat their target, a Varelian command ship shaped like a sharp arrowhead. Boarding party ready, Captain, Daniel reported from the airlock, his team equipped with space suits and cutting tools. Proceed, Peter ordered. You have 30 minutes before we need to break position. Daniel and his team pushed off from the Defiant, using small thrusters to guide themselves across the gap. They landed silently on the Varelian ship's hull and immediately set to work cutting through a maintenance hatch. On the bridge, Jack monitored Varelian communications. Still no alarm. They don't see them. Samantha's fingers moved nervously on her console. 20 minutes left. Inside the Varelian ship, Daniel and his team moved quickly through narrow corridors. The interior was strangely warm, with surfaces that seemed to pulse with energy. They encountered 2 Varelian crew members and quickly subdued them. We've reached what looks like a control room. Daniel's voice came through over the comm. Downloading data now. 15 minutes, Samantha announced. Daniel's voice came again. Captain, we'd found something interesting. Looks like a Varelian officer. We're taking him prisoner. 10 minutes, Samantha warned. On our way back, Daniel reported. Wait, we've been spotted. Taking fire. The bridge crew of the Defiant listened tensely as the sounds of energy weapons came through the comm system. We have the data and the prisoner, Daniel shouted. Almost to the exit point. Jack, behind you. An alarm sounded. They've detected us, Olivia warned. Varelian patrols changing course. Get to the extraction point. Peter ordered Daniel. We're coming to you. The Defiant broke cover, accelerating toward the Varelian ship. Samantha fired precise shots at the enemy vessel's weapon systems. I see them, she called. 5 of our team on the hull. Wait, only 5. Daniel's voice came through, strained. Jack didn't make it. They captured him. We have to go back. No time, Peter said grimly as Varelian ships converged on their position. Get aboard now. As soon as the boarding party was inside, Olivia pushed the engines to maximum. The Defiant shot away from Earth, weaving through the surprised Varelian patrols. They're pursuing, Samantha reported. Just get us clear enough for a jump, Peter ordered. And someone secure that Varelian prisoner. He's our key to finding Jack, and maybe saving Earth. Back at New Hope, the Varelian prisoner was kept in a secure room. He was tall with gray-green skin and 4 yellow eyes that blinked in different patterns. His name, as best they could pronounce it, was Krellfax. After 3 days of questioning, Peter called an emergency meeting with his crew and Dr. Martinez. What we've learned changes everything, Peter said. Krellfax has been surprisingly cooperative. Daniel snorted. Too cooperative, if you ask me. I don't trust him. Trust or not, his information matches the data we stole, Samantha pointed out, and it explains a lot. Peter nodded. The Varelians aren't naturally warlike. Their leaders control the population and military through neural implants. Mind control? Lisa asked, looking disturbed. Not exactly, Alan explained. The implants don't control thoughts, just emotions. They suppress empathy and increase aggression and fear. The average Varelian soldier believes they're fighting for survival. Olivia looked confused. But why? Why conquer so many worlds? Resources, Peter said. Their home system is dying. They started conquering nearby worlds centuries ago, used up those resources, and kept expanding. The leaders keep their people fighting by convincing them it's the only way to survive. And the leaders maintain power by keeping this secret, Samantha added. Most Varelians don't even know about the implants. What about their shields? Lisa asked. Has Alan's theory been confirmed? Alan smiled for the first time in days. Yes. The Varelian shields operate on a very specific frequency pattern. Their weapons are designed to pass through these frequencies, which is why they can hit each other in battle without friendly fire issues. And why our weapons were useless, Daniel added. Exactly. Alan continued, getting excited. But I've designed a device that can detect their shield frequency and create a matching energy pulse. It should disrupt their shields completely for about 30 seconds. Long enough to get a shot in, Samantha said. Lisa looked thoughtful. How many of these devices can you build with the resources we have? Maybe 5 or 6 ship-mounted versions, Alan replied, plus a few smaller ones for fighters. Not enough to defend the colony against a full fleet, Peter said grimly. There's more, Daniel interrupted. Dr. Martinez, tell them what you found. Lisa nodded. We've been studying the neural implant data. I believe we can create a signal that would temporarily disable the implants. It wouldn't remove them, but it would stop them from working for a few hours. So the Varelians would, what? Suddenly realize they don't want to fight. Olivia asked skeptically. According to Krellfax, many would, Peter replied. Not all, but enough to cause confusion in their ranks. Samantha studied the tactical displays showing the colony's defenses. We need every advantage. How soon can these devices be ready? The shield disruptors will take 3 days, Alan said. The neural signal might take longer. You may not have that long, a voice said from the doorway. Krellfax stood there, flanked by guards. Peter had allowed him to attend the meeting. What do you mean? Peter asked. I've been studying your star charts. Based on standard Varelian fleet movements, they will reach this system in 5 days, not the 3 weeks you estimated. The room fell silent as the information sank in. Can we trust him? Daniel asked quietly. Krellfax's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. If I wanted your colony destroyed, I would say nothing. I would let you continue thinking you have time. He's right, Samantha said, running new calculations. If they detected our escape trajectory, they could have adjusted their advance schedule. Peter stood up. Then we have no time to waste. Alan, focus on the shield disruptors. Lisa, do what you can with the neural signal. Everyone else, prepare the colony for battle. As they left the meeting, Samantha caught up with Peter in the hallway. What about Jack? She asked quietly. Are we just leaving him? Peter's face showed the weight of command. After we defend this colony, I promise you, we'll find a way to rescue him. But right now, thousands of lives depend on us being here. Samantha nodded reluctantly. I'll start working on battle strategies. With the shield disruptors, we might have a chance. A small one, Peter agreed. But sometimes that's all humanity needs. The next 4 days passed in a blur of activity. The colony transformed from a peaceful settlement into a military base. Every ship that could fly was armed. Every person who could fight was trained. Peter stood in the colony's command center, reviewing the latest defense plans with Samantha. The holographic display showed their small fleet positioned around the colony. We have 23 ships total, Samantha said. The Defiant and 5 others now have shield disruptors installed. How many fighters? 42. Most are old mining vessels converted for combat. Peter nodded. It wasn't much against a Varelian fleet, but it was all they had. And the colony defenses. Ground-to-space weapons are in place. We've moved all non-combatants to the underground shelters. Ellen entered the room, looking tired but excited. The last shield disruptor is installed. We're testing it now. And the neural signal? Peter asked. Dr. Martinez is still working on it. The transmission range is limited, but it might help if we can get close enough to their command ships. Daniel appeared at the doorway. Captain, we've got visitors. You might want to come see this. Peter followed Daniel to the landing pad where a strange ship had just touched down. It wasn't human design, nor was it Varelian. They arrived 10 minutes ago, Daniel explained. Said they picked up our preparations and wanted to help. The ship's hatch opened, and several aliens emerged. Peter recognized them immediately. Niburians, like the refugees they had rescued months ago. Captain Dawson, said the lead Niburian, Zern. We heard your colony was preparing for battle. How did you find us? Peter asked. We have been watching. After our people found refuge here, we gathered others who escaped the Varelians. We have 5 ships, not large, but fast. We will fight with you. Peter smiled. We need all the help we can get. More ships arrived throughout the day. 3 vessels crewed by blue-skinned Arcturians, a heavily armored transport carrying refugees from the Sirius system. By nightfall, they had added 12 more ships to their fleet. That evening, Peter found Krelfax standing alone, watching the sunset from the colony's observation deck. Your people are brave, the Varelian said without turning around. Foolish, perhaps, but brave. Is it foolish to fight for your home? Peter asked. No, but it is foolish to believe you can win. Krelfax turned to face him. However, I find myself hoping you will prove me wrong. Will you help us? The Varelian was quiet for a moment. Yes. I will help you target their command ships. If Dr. Martinez's signal works, it will cause the most disruption there. Thank you. Peter studied the alien's face. Why are you doing this? Because I remember what we were before the implants. Explorers, builders, not conquerors. He turned back to the sunset. Perhaps it is time we remembered. Later that night, the crew of the Defiant gathered in the ship's mess hall. It might be their last night together, and no one wanted to spend it alone. To Earth, Peter said, raising his glass in a toast. To Earth, they echoed. Olivia looked around the table. Do you think we have a chance? The odds aren't good, Samantha admitted, but I've calculated worse and survived. Ellen smiled slightly. The Varelians have conquered 1,000 worlds without a single defeat. They won't be expecting anything different here. That's our advantage, Daniel added. Surprise. And this, Dr. Martins said, entering the room with a small device in her hand. The neural signal transmitter. It's ready. Peter took the device carefully. Will it work? In theory, yes. But we'll need to get very close to their ships. They all understood what that meant. Someone would have to fly directly into the heart of the Varelian fleet. I'll do it, Peter said simply. Samantha shook her head. The Defiant is needed to coordinate the battle. I'll take a fighter. Before anyone could argue further, the alarm sounded. Olivia's communicator beeped. Scanner stations reporting multiple warp signatures, she said, her face pale. The Varelian fleet is here. The bridge of the Defiant hummed with tense activity as Peter took his captain's chair. On the main screen, the Varelian fleet appeared as hundreds of red dots against the black of space. They've deployed in standard attack formation, Krelfax said, studying the display. 3 waves. The command ships will stay back until the first wave has engaged. Our ships are in position, Captain, Samantha reported. Shield disruptors are charged and ready. Peter took a deep breath. This is Captain Dawson to all ships. Hold position until the enemy is within range. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. First wave approaching. Olivia announced. 2 minutes to weapon range. Peter looked at Samantha. The neural signal. Ready, but we'll need to get much closer to their command ships. We stick to the plan, Peter said firmly. Defend the colony first. The first Varelian ships opened fire. Energy beams sliced through space toward the human fleet. Several smaller ships exploded immediately. "Return fire," Peter ordered. The Defiant's weapons blazed, joined by the rest of the defenders. Most shots bounced harmlessly off Varelian shields. Moving to target position, Olivia called out as she maneuvered the ship toward a large Varelian cruiser. "Shield disruptor at full charge," Alan reported from engineering. "Ready on your mark." Peter waited until they were almost too close. Now, a pulse of energy shot from the Defiant, striking the Varelian ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the cruiser's shields flickered and died. "Their shields are down," Samantha shouted, firing. The Defiant's weapons struck the unprotected ship. Explosions rippled along its hull. "It worked," Ellen cried over the comm. "All ships with disruptors, target, and fire," Peter ordered. Around the battlefield, 5 other human ships fired their disruptors. Suddenly, Varelian vessels that had seemed invincible were vulnerable. "They're adjusting their shield frequencies," Krelfax warned. "The disruptors won't work for long." "We need to reach their command ships now," Samantha said, while they're confused. "Too risky," Daniel argued. "We're barely holding our position here." Peter studied the tactical display. The defenders had destroyed 12 Varelian ships, but had lost 17 of their own. The math was simple and brutal. "We won't win a battle of attrition," he decided. "Samantha, take a fighter and 3 escorts. Get that neural signal to their command ships." Samantha nodded and headed for the door. "I will go with her," Krelfax said unexpectedly. "The pilots will need to know which ship to target first." Daniel looked at Peter. "Can we trust him?" "We don't have a choice," Peter replied. "Go." As Samantha's small group departed, the battle intensified. The Varelians adjusted their tactics, focusing fire on ships with disruptors. "We're losing too many ships," Olivia reported grimly. "Hold position," Peter ordered. "We just need to give Samantha time." On the tactical display, 4 small dots moved through the chaos toward the Varelian command ships. One vanished, then another. "They've lost 2 escorts," Daniel reported. The 3rd escort disappeared from the screen. "Just Samantha and Krelfax now," Olivia said quietly. Peter watched helplessly as their fighter approached the largest Varelian command ship. At the last moment, the fighter changed course, heading straight for the vessel's bridge. "What are they doing?" Daniel asked. "The signal needs to be closer than we thought," Alan explained. "They're making sure it works." The fighter struck the command ship in a direct hit. A moment later, a strange pulse radiated outward from the point of impact. "The neural signal," Alan shouted. "They did it." Across the battlefield, Varelian ships suddenly stopped firing. Some began to drift aimlessly. Others turned their weapons on nearby Varelian vessels. "It's working," Peter said in amazement. "Samantha did it. But at what cost?" Daniel asked quietly, staring at the destroyed fighter on the screen. 3 days after the battle, Peter stood on the observation deck of the Defiant, staring at the remains of the Varelian fleet. Some ships had been destroyed. Many more had surrendered once their implants stopped working. "Captain," Olivia called from behind him. "You need to see this." He followed her to the medical bay where Dr. Martinez was treating wounded from both sides. She pointed to a bed in the corner. "We found her in an escape pod," Dr. Martinez said. "Badly injured, but alive." Peter rushed forward. Samantha lay on the bed, her face bruised but her eyes open. "You're supposed to be dead," he said, unable to hide his smile. "Sorry to disappoint," she whispered. "Krelfax ejected us before impact. He said it was the logical thing to do." "It's he." She shook her head. "He didn't make it. The pod only had room for 1. Peter took her hand. "He saved you. He saved all of us." Across the room, a communication officer burst in. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Earth." In the communications room, Peter watched as the screen flickered to life. A familiar face appeared. "Jack?" Peter couldn't believe his eyes. Jack Garcia smiled tiredly. Reporting for duty, sir. A bit late, I'm afraid. How is this possible? You were captured. I was. But when the neural signal hit, the guard's implants failed. I escaped with some other prisoners and found more humans. We've been organizing resistance cells across Earth. The Varelians. In chaos, some are fighting among themselves. Others have surrendered. Many actually want to help us rebuild. They say they were forced to fight against their will. Peter nodded. That matches what Krellfax told us. Are you safe now? Safe enough. But we could use some help. We're on our way, Peter promised. 2 weeks later, the Defiant led a liberation fleet back to Earth. They found a planet already in recovery. With the neural implants disabled, many Varelians had chosen to stop fighting. Some had even turned against their leaders. In what had once been Geneva, representatives from Earth, New Hope, and the various alien allies gathered to discuss the future. Even a group of Varelians attended, led by a commander who had removed his own implant years ago and secretly worked against the conquest. For centuries, our leaders told us we had to conquer or die, the Varelian commander explained. They kept us fighting, kept us afraid. But now we see the truth. What will you do? Peter asked. Help rebuild what we destroyed. Find a new way for our people to live, one that doesn't require endless conquest. After the meeting, Peter found Samantha outside watching the sunset over Earth. She was still recovering from her injuries but insisted on attending the conference. Did you ever think we'd be back here? She asked as he joined her. Honestly, no. I thought we were fighting to save New Hope, not Earth. One ship, she said softly. That's all it took. One ship that wouldn't give up. And one very stubborn weapons officer, Peter added with a smile. They watched as a mixed group of humans and aliens worked together to rebuild a damaged building. Among them were former Varelian soldiers working alongside people they had once fought. What happens now? Samantha asked. Dr. Martinez is helping remove the implants from Varelians who want them gone. Alan is working on adapting our shield technology to protect against future threats. Jack is coordinating the rebuilding efforts on Earth. And us. Peter looked up at the stars. There are other worlds out there that the Varelians conquered. Other people who need help breaking free. So the Defiant flies again. With a new mission. And a mixed crew. Humans, Niburians, even some Varelians who want to make amends. Samantha smiled. From one ship taking a stand to many ships bringing freedom. Exactly, Peter said. And this time, we won't be alone.